And we're live here on YouTube. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land, and also my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing this week?
Doing good, Mike.
Friday Night
Full
Lights.
Friday Night Lights. Full week of work at work.
Yeah,
Wasn't as hectic or trying to play and catch up as much as I thought I would.
that makes
And
one of us.
yeah, so you know what? It really wasn't too bad. So
Yeah, my week was a little crazy. We had a pipe burst at one of the schools we manage, and
yep.
so the building was considered non-habitable for everyday use. They can go in. They could still go in and get stuff as needed. Can't do it. Use it every day. So we are we're trying to scramble and get kids set up and get everything ready to go so that kids can have a productive school environment, which is nice.
Yeah, with that type of unexpected thing happening, so maybe early in the second semester, it isn't like you could turn around and call off school a couple weeks early either.
Nope. It's
Oh,
been
yep.
yeah. It's crazy, but we're making it work. So, um, man, crazy week in sports. We had Monday, Bloody Monday, and we're going to talk about. And it actually turned into Bloody Tuesday and Wednesday even. How crazy that some of those
Yeah,
decisions took so long to get out. Um, so, man, we got to talk about our regular season, how we did for Thursday nights, how we did for upsets and locks, and what else we got to talk about this week, Rich?
well, Mike, the Cubs actually made a major transaction that's noteworthy.
About
Finally,
time.
yeah, and
I
we
actually
got
have
some
I have a
NASCAR news to talk about as well.
we have a lot of NASCAR news to talk about. I actually have a theory on the Cubs thing when we get to it
Sure,
as well.
and Mass Singer, as we
Masked Singer
both
returned this
watched
week.
the season premiere this evening
Yeah,
before we started our call.
yeah. So all that and more. But Rich, what's it time to do?
Let's go ahead and roll the intro, Mike.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.
And we're back. Okay, Rich. With all of that, we have the penultimate poll question of the last year and a couple months.
Yeah, we're in the this will be the quarterfinals. Yeah, the quarterfinals, I think. Um, Farmers Market grilling. The winner is going to go up against Bonfires, and yeah, going up against Bonfires. Mike, I voted for grilling as I think grilling's more something that I think I would do more often rather than going down to going to the farmers market.
I love the farmers market. I just love grilling more. We legitimately. This isn't even a joke. We legitimately have a. I for Christmas this year, I got a canopy from my in-laws so that I can put it over all of my grilling and smoking equipment.
Okay, instead of having a tarp.
Well, I had a small pergola, but it wasn't big enough. So I got a 10 by 10 foot, essentially like the tailgating canopies.
Hmm.
I got one of those so that I can grill more. It's gonna be great. So with that, Rich, those voting for grilling, me, Austin Shrepak, Brandon Close, and you.
Yeah, Mike, what did who sided with the farmers market?
My wife, Danielle
Yeah.
Hart, and Brooke Rice, a good friend of
Oh,
ours up here.
all right, Mike. So before we get to that finals, which will be grilling our number 3 seed going up against Bonfires, we're gonna have our third place. somebody's got to take home the bronze. So
Why you got to do this to me, Rich?
you got to wait. So we're
These
going
are
to go bird watching as our number 7 seed going up against the number 2 seeded Farmers Markets.
The next 2 weeks for these polls are going to be so hard for me. I love all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
These were my top. I'm pretty sure these were my top 4. I'm pretty sure. I want to go back and look. We can look at the thing. We have a spreadsheet that we put this all on. I want to look because I think when I put my rankings in, 1, 2, 3, and my top 4 are the 4 finalists.
Very nicely done, Mike.
The people and I agree. Rich, you did not like it. You had 1, 2. You had 2 of the 4, or you had 3 of the 4 in your top 4. You missed out on 1. And your only one of your top 2 made the finals. Both my top 2 made the finals, and my 3 and 4 are vying for 3rd place.
All right, so that poll is actually live now on Fans of Balls and Sticks. So make sure to vote. Give it a like, share it, so we can have a good pick distribution for this poll.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Week number 18, the final week of the regular season. So let's save the Bears game for last, since I have a bullet point for that game that impacts your upset of the week.
Okay.
So, Mike, how did our locks do?
Locks of the week, Rich. So I picked the Rams over the Cardinals. The Rams won 37-20, bringing me to 13-5 on the season. Rich, you picked the Bills over the Jets, and the Bills won 35-8, bringing you to 15-3. The Bills
that
win
was
their
with a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen, started the game, but only played long enough to keep his consecutive start record alive.
Yeah.
So that was also the Bills' last home game at Highmark Field, which was originally named after their owner, Ralph Wilson.
So
and also,
where do they not have a home game for the playoffs?
not unless there's some upsets, because as the number 5 seed, for them to get another home game as the 6th seed, the Chargers would have to beat the Patriots, and they would have to beat the Broncos, and then the Chargers would have to beat either Houston or Pittsburgh, and Buffalo beats the Broncos and the Jaguars to force a 6-7 AFC championship game.
You mean 6-7?
Yeah, a 6-7 game. That's a lot of upsets.
I mean, I think that's
well,
how it has to go, man. 6-7. By the way, don't the Chargers have to win against both the Patriots and the Bills? Yeah, the Chargers would have to beat the Patriots and the Bills. And the Patriots
hold
and
on here. So the lower seed. Yeah, I'm sorry.
The Patriots and the Broncos.
In this scenario,
the Chargers would have to beat the Patriots and the Broncos.
My apologies, Michael. Let me go one more time here. With the way that's the lower seeded team goes up against the higher seeded. So the Chargers would have to beat the Broncos, and the Bills would have to beat the Steelers or the Texans.
Right.
To get to set up that 6-7.
I mean, that's
AFC championship in Buffalo.
That is actually possible. I'm going to look at some things. So
while you're looking at that,
we'll talk.
Jets
We'll talk other stuff while we go through.
Yeah, the Jets also became the first team in league history to not record an interception in a season since 1933, which was also the first year that stat started being recorded.
Wow. Okay.
All right, Mike. Upset specials Mike, I went with the Seahawks over the 49ers. The Seahawks pull it off 13-3, claiming the number 1 seed in the NFC. And with that loss, the Niners dropped all the way from, I think, being the number 1 seed all the way down to 6. My final record on upsets was 5-13. Mike, you went with the Commanders over the Eagles. And
You thought I was
Commanders
crazy,
pulled
didn't
it
you?
off. I did. Commanders pull it off 24-17, making your final record for upsets 10-8, and that upset secured the Bears the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
And why was that important, Mike? Tell them how that Bears-Lions
Because the Bears lost to the Lions 19-6, even though we both picked the Bears. They did beat out they did beat the over-under of 7.5 wins to finish 11-6 on the season. They do get the number 2 overall seed in the playoffs, and Caleb Williams becomes the lead passing yards in a single season for all Bears ever at 3,942. I was sure he was going to get the 4,000 yard passing. The Bears are the only team in the league to not have a 4,000 yard passer ever in the history of the game.
Yeah, I was surprised with that too. If the game would have gone to overtime, I think he would have gotten it.
Yeah, he would have.
Overtime, he would have gotten it.
I think he would have. So preseason, so I actually think this should go reverse Price is Right rules.
Oh, for closest?
For closest. Overall, we were both 12-5 on the season, which happens to be the Bears' record. Right?
No, the Bears finished 11-6.
Oh, that's right. Right. Okay. But Rich, I thought they were going to go 13-4 on the season. When we went through the schedule, I went with 13-4. You went with 11-6 on the season. Reverse Price is Right rules mean that I actually win. Right?
Because you went over?
Yeah. I went under on the losses and over on the wins.
Yep, yeah, but I guessed it right on the dot.
Oh, you did.
I get the $1,000 and the bonus spin.
Yeah, you did. I forgot you did that. Dang it. Okay, well, whatever.
And I win both. And I win both showcases.
You do. You won both showcases. Man, what a great season it was so far. I mean, it's not over. We are the number 2 seed in the playoffs. By the way, how about the fact that the Bears are getting so much disrespect that they're still a 1-point underdog at home for the week 1 of the playoffs?
Well, Mike, you could probably make a case that a lot of strange things happened in their one game against the Packers, where they beat them with recovering an onside kick, getting a field goal, getting that field goal, getting an onside kick, converting the touchdown, and and winning in overtime. So it was a close game with the Packers. It was week 16.
Yeah,
No, it would have been week 16.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that was a game where they had to go to their backup quarterback as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that game's a little close. Maybe the game goes a different direction if Jordan Love didn't get knocked out with a concussion.
I don't know. I'm not.
Well, the thing is, I think that even the game in Green Bay was close, 22-16.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Oh no, the game in Green Bay was still 28-21, only a touchdown difference.
The Bears all season have been getting mad disrespect. Like nobody has given them anything when it comes to respect for for how good they are as a team. Like, I don't get it. I'm not happy with it, and I don't know. It annoys me right now that
but
the
at the same
number
time,
2
which Bears,
seed is a 1-point underdog at home.
yeah, but which Bears team are you going to get? Are you going to get the one that? Are you going to get the fourth quarter Bears when they're down by 2 touchdowns, or are you going to get? Or are you going to get the Bears that, even though they lost the game to the 49ers, were marching up and down the field the entire game and not waiting until the fourth quarter to come out of hibernation and start putting points on the board?
Yeah, and that is the $1 million question. Let's be honest with ourselves. I don't know. I'm just.
But by all means, I'm happy with the way the season went. We won't go through all of our division picks. But Mikey, you said that they would win the division. They did. I said that they would make the playoffs as a wild card. So you know what? They're in the playoffs. They finished with a great record, number 2 seed in the playoffs, exceeded my expectations for the team. The offensive line held up. Caleb Williams looked good under Ben Johnson. So, I will take whatever they can. I'll take whatever I'll take whatever victories we can get in the playoffs. And I think if you had to ask me right now, I think I'd be disappointed if they lost to the Packers in the playoffs. But if they went out in the second round, I wouldn't be disappointed, regardless of who they end up playing in the second round.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with where it's at, and the season was great, and they did everything. Like, they've done everything they needed to do so far. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks. So.
All right, Mike. So that brings us to the wild card weekend slate of games. We'll go rapid fire, Mike.
Yep.
Rams or the Panthers, which will kick off wild card weekend over on Fox.
That's going to be the Rams.
Yeah, I agree. The Panthers backdooring into the playoffs, needing another team within their division to win a game.
Yeah, how about we talk about that one? How about the Rams didn't know where they were flying to other than the East Coast until after noon, until the first set of games were over. Right?
Yeah, so while they were preparing for their afternoon game against the Cardinals,
they didn't know where they were going.
They didn't know where they'd be playing.
Yeah, and again, that's not that crazy, but the Niners didn't know if they were going to be playing where they were going either.
Yeah,
because if the Rams lose, the Niners are the 5. Either way, the Panthers won, right? They won against Tampa Bay.
No, Tampa Bay won, which forced
Atlanta,
Rams,
New Orleans.
Which forced the Rams New Orleans game.
Yeah.
The sad thing was, I think you noticed it up. I think let me bring up the standings here.
We talked about it last week. Nobody from the South has a winning record.
Yeah, here's the thing, Mike. The Panthers won the division at 8-9.
Yeah.
The 2 teams that also didn't make the playoffs from the South, the Buccaneers and the Falcons, were also 8-9.
And
so you
New
had
Orleans,
essentially a three-way tie in that division.
And what was New Orleans?
New Orleans was 6-11.
Yeah.
And I think I saw like a post come up through my Facebook saying that if the Falcons had just beaten the Raiders, they would have been the team to represent the South.
Right.
Because they would have finished
9-8.
9-8.
Yeah, how ridiculous is that? With that being said, Game 2, Bears-Packers in Chicago on Amazon Prime. I have to go with the Bears. You literally just talked about what Bears are we going to get. I hope we get the Bears that we want.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Bears as well. Because I mean, they played both. The Packers Bears had close scores both of their regular season games. They've split, and maybe Jordan Love is rusty since he had to take the week off for the concussion, and they chose not to play him in the meaningless Week 17 tilt in Minneapolis. All right, Mike, kicking off the action on Sunday, the Bills will go down to Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence's Jaguars.
I mean, that's easy, right? The Bills?
For me, I'm going with the Bills, but this was the one game where I was kind of conflicted on where to go with it, just because the Jaguars are just hot right now, and it's at home. But I'll go with the Bills because I want to see them win the Super Bowl, let alone make it there. So I think it's their best chance to get Josh Allen that Super Bowl.
By the way, you brought up something that we totally buzzed by before because normally we talk about before we go into the wild card weekend, we normally talk about who we thought was going to win and who we think now is going to, what the matchup and all that's going to be. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
The Niners play the Eagles on Fox early game or late game.
The middle game. Yeah, the middle game.
Yeah. This is a tight game.
Yeah, this is the other one.
This to me is a hard one to pick. Man,
I'm gonna go with the Niners, but if the Eagles defense can pressure and play well, maybe they can do what the Seahawks did to the Niners last week.
And it also looks like the tush push doesn't work anymore. They have not been able to tush push their way to wins in this year.
Or at least the second part of the year.
Yeah.
People figured out it's a copycat league. The Bears figured out how to stop it multiple times in their game.
Yep.
Against the Eagles, and people have copied it.
Yep. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Niners, but if we were doing confident points, this would actually be my lowest confidence point of any of them.
For me, it's the Bills Jaguars would be the lowest confidence.
That's my number 2 low confidence, actually. But okay, the Sunday Night Football, Chargers Patriots. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Patriots.
Okay.
The Patriots have played an easy schedule, which is what allowed them to be 13-3, 13-4. But the Chargers are banged up. They're recovering from injuries. Their key players are back. But I'm going to go with the home team here and go with the Pats.
I'm going to pick the Chargers. I think you're right on the fact that they are banged up, and the hard part there is that that your rhythm. Are you back in your rhythm? Coming back, getting your stars back all at the same time. Are they going to be in the right rhythm? Are they going to be ready to go? That's a hard one. I don't know that they're going to be able to do that, but I still think that the Chargers win this one. Final game of the week, Texans Steelers. Rich, I don't even think you need to make a pick on this one. You hate one of these teams, and even more so, you hate the quarterback of that team even more than you hate the team, I think, which I hate that quarterback way more than I hate anybody else. But I think that team is better than the other. I think the Steelers beat the Texans.
No, I'm gotta go with the Texans.
Yeah, I know.
They're playing great defense right now. Their offense looking decent.
Yep.
Looking decent compared to what what happened, how they started the year. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. So Mike, we kind of mentioned the game that we have the least confidence with our pick. But Mike, for you, what's the one that you're most confident with?
I think the Rams Panthers. I mean, that game feels like the Panthers don't even deserve to be there. I think there are two teams from the NFC North that deserve to be in the playoffs more than the Panthers do.
So you would put Minnesota yeah, I know you put easily put Detroit in there.
Record-wise, they both have better records. Minnesota has a 9-8 record.
Yeah, you know what you know what, you're right. Minnesota, if they went just off of the conference standings, Minnesota or Detroit would make the playoffs over the Panthers.
Yeah,
Based off of standings.
like
And honestly, I think I'd rather see that game.
yeah,
A Rams-Lions rematch or a Rams-Vikings game instead of the Panthers in
yeah.
the playoffs.
There. By the way, how about if the Packers lost to the Cowboys? How different does this look? Because if the Packers lose to the Cowboys, they then they go off of then they're tied with the Vikings and the Lions.
Well, I think the Lions would lose that tiebreaker because the Packers swept them
Right.
in the regular season.
They split with the Vikings, right?
I think the Vikings would. Let's see real quick.
They lost the second game, but did they win the first game? No, they lost both games. So the Packers would make it either way. It looks like.
It was split.
No, the Packers
won.
The Packers won both games.
The Vikings beat them in the final regular season game.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Oh, they did. Yeah, so they
So it
split.
was a split.
So then it would go
So-
it actually goes to conference, not it goes to conference record, then head to head, then conference. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know on that one. I'm not sure who actually.
I think it would be the Vikings. They'd have the same conference record if that tie was
Yeah.
a loss. Because the Vikings were 7-5 in the conference.
Man.
They were the Packers would have been 7-5. They had the same division record of 4-2. So maybe it's strength of schedule, which I think the Vikings would have had since they were the division champs last year.
Yeah, I think
At
they would have had
14-3.
that, and so the Vikings, the Bears Vikings play this week. But yeah, how about that? How about the Lions ended up being the fourth place team in the division? By the way, all of the NFC North above 500. I think that's the only division that did that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. NFC North only division to have everybody having a winning record.
So while you're on that, Mike, let me point out the NFC West to you.
Oh yeah.
14-3 Seattle, 12-5 Rams, 12-5 Niners, and then the 3-14 Cardinals.
Yeah.
Crazy that you had 3 teams win 12 games in the same division.
Yeah. Which actually hurts the argument that a good division beats up itself all the time and can't make playoffs. So, by the way, the Cardinals beat the Packers, the Cowboys, and who's their third win? Oh, the Saints.
All right, so to give folks a recap, we both went with the Rams, we both went with the Bears, we both went with the Bills, the Niners, We differed on the late games as I went with the Pats and Texans. You took the underdogs. In my opinion, the Chargers and the Steelers. All right, Mike. Postseason
Well,
preseason predictions.
let's talk about our preseason predictions.
Yes.
Not that I want to, but I'm gonna be fair in this.
Yep. Mike, my preseason pick for the Super Bowl was the Buffalo Bills over the Detroit Lions. The Bills are in it. I would not have expected at the beginning of the year that they'd be the number 6 seed, as I thought they would have easily have won their division. And the Lions didn't. I did not think the Lions would fall off as much.
Rich.
Yes.
I'm looking at the prediction thing. Oh wait. Oh, there it is. Okay, never mind. I was on the wrong one. Never mind. You're right.
That's okay. And your pick was the Detroit Lions over the Kansas City Chiefs, and neither team made the playoffs.
Yeah, that was bad.
I don't think it was a bad pick, though. We both thought the Lions would do really well. But if anything, with both teams, the strength of schedule caught up. I think the strength of schedule and the other teams in their division improving finally came back and hurt the Chiefs.
Yeah, and the Lions. I mean, we just got done talking about how good the NFC North was and how every team has above 500 record. How does any of that seem unreasonable to pick? Either way. So going into going into the postseason, we both have to revise ours. Very tempted, by the way, to pick the Bills over somebody, because this has to be the Bills' year, right?
You'd think so.
So
you'd think so.
I was very tempted. I'm 100% going to admit that. I didn't. I'm going to pick Seattle. Seattle looks really good right now. I'm going to pick Seattle over the Bills.
All right. And I will stick with the Bills winning the Super Bowl, even though they gotta do it on the road. And even though they got to do it on the road, and since the Lions didn't make the playoffs, I will go with the Rams.
Okay, not a bad pick, by the way. So here's the other thing. I am putting it out there right now. If the Bills make the Super Bowl, I don't care, even if they go against Seattle, I forfeit my right to get a lunch because I didn't have a single. Neither of my teams made the playoffs, and your pick of the Bills made it to the playoffs. So I'm just, if the Bills make the Super Bowl, you win lunch.
Okay, fair enough.
Also, I've also taken how many lunches from you over the last few years that we've done this, and that means that I don't want to take. Not that I feel bad about it, because neither one of us is hurting for it, but at the same time, I owe you a lunch or two just in general. So, with that, Rich, speaking of Seattle and the last time I gambled on a professional sport, Pete Carroll decides to throw the ball on the 1-yard line, and I lose $25,000. We'll tell that story in a minute. Pete Carroll, speaking of which, Pete Carroll gets fired. Boom, like that. I brought it together. You were lost. You were like, what's this guy doing? Speaking of which, let me tell this story real quick. As I'm glad to see Pete Carroll getting fired, because Pete Carroll is the reason I am no longer a degenerate gambler. You want to bet me on that, Rich? Have I told you this story?
No, I don't think you have.
Okay. So I used to, and I don't know that you ever knew this about me, I used to make bets on NFL games pretty regularly since high school. The legality of it, we'll ignore that for now. But I think it was 2010.
It might have been 12 or 13, I think. Was that Super Bowl? So I know it wasn't out in Oregon.
15.
Yet.
It was
Okay,
15.
That
Sorry.
would make sense because the warehouse workers out in Oregon were still kind of bitter about that game.
Yeah.
How that game ended.
That
in 16 when I was in there in 16.
Man, I didn't realize that was that recently. That was only 10 years ago. That statute of limitations might not always be up yet. But, so I had my best year ever. So here's what I did. At the beginning of the season, I'd give $100 to a friend. We'll just call it a friend. Mm-hmm. Bookie, whatever you want. You use your term how you want. And I do that every week for the first couple of weeks. Picking just a money line. I never did it. I didn't. Just a money line. All I did. And I'd roll my winnings over every week and get it to a point where, I was doing okay. Well, that year, the first 8 weeks, I did phenomenal. I kept doing well. I ended up at the end of the season, through the playoffs, did super well. To the point that going into the Super Bowl, I had $12,500 worth of money in my pot to make a bet. And every year I just roll it over. So I rolled it over to the Super Bowl, $12,500, which means that, and it was a money line, and it wasn't odds. It wasn't anything. It was a guy that was just barely keeping a book. Didn't do all the fancy stuff. It was just who you betting on, who you got, blah blah blah. I pick the Seattle Seahawks. By the way, I work at Delta at the time, so I tell all my buddies while we're watching the Super Bowl, if we win, we're going to Dubai, and I'm spending $10,000. Now, Rich, let's say you and I are buddies, and we work at an airline, and we fly for free, and I'm going to spend the money for the hotel, the food. We're going to end up spending like $10,000 for the weekend. And I'm telling you, I'm putting aside $10,000 of these winnings for us to go on this trip to Dubai, and we're just gonna have fun. Are you gonna cheer for me or against me?
I would cheer for you, but I'm guessing your coworkers cheered against you.
These boys of mine were like, I hope they lose. I hope they lose. And then they're at the 1 yard line, and they're finally like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go on this trip. Mikey's going to spend $10,000 on us to go on this trip. And then the interception happens. Pete Carroll throws the ball on the 1 yard line when they have the most dominant runner that we've seen in the NFL since 1985.
And I think if my memory serves correct, they had multiple downs, so they could have ran the ball a couple of times or even tried a QB sneak and let Russell Wilson run the ball.
Nope. Throw the ball. Throw an interception. $25,000 down the drain. That's when I realized I can never gamble again. I can't do it. So that's the last time I gambled.
Yeah. And I'm sure this was going through, but if you imagine that if Marshawn Lynch runs that in, that would have been the winning touchdown.
Uh-huh.
Could you imagine he would have had to have been the Super Bowl MVP.
Uh-huh.
What that conversation would have been like. Marshawn Lynch, you're the Super Bowl MVP.
I'm just here so I don't get sued.
Thank you. How you feeling right now?
I'm just here so I don't get sued,
That's all I have to say.
or
about
so I
that.
don't get fined.
I'm just here. I'm glad we won.
Rich,
You
could you
had to-
imagine what kind of trip I could have done going to Dubai and spending $10,000 and still had $15,000 that I could have put in the bank and done whatever I wanted to with? I'm not bitter. But Pete Carroll got fired this week.
All right. Other choices, other folks joining him.
By the
on
way, you called that one, didn't you?
I thought that they should fire him, but I didn't think they would.
Yeah, I think we were both in that boat, but
All right. So mid-season firings, as we went over, as we touched on last week, were Brian Callahan down in Nashville and Brian Dable in New Jersey. Black Monday saw Raheem Morris in Atlanta. The Cardinals letting Jonathan Gannon go, which I called.
yep.
The Browns letting Kevin Stefanski go, which you said. And later on in the week, the Ravens let go of John Harbaugh, and the Dolphins let go of Mike McDaniel, which you thought would happen.
I thought that would happen. The John Harbaugh one was slightly surprising to me. One, the only reason they don't make the playoffs is one bad kick. I mean, obviously you can make the argument over and over. There were plenty of spots throughout this season that they blah, 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 blah. Yes.
Or they had Lamar Jackson injured
But
for portions for a good chunk of games this year.
But you're going to tell me, man, John Harbaugh, 18 years. Only other longer tenured coach to be fired. The only coach that was tenured longer than Harbaugh when being fired was Bill Belichick. At the time, they said it was mutual. Later, Robert Kraft said he fired him. So, that's the thing. I thought that was the end of a contract, though. So that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
But whatever.
For me, with the Ravens, I think if anything, it's just a change of scenery. They just needed a new voice in the locker room.
Okay, here's my question, though. I mean, and it can't happen yet. But if you are saying that, then does that mean that it's time to get rid of Mike Tomlin?
Yes.
But
But I also hate the Steelers.
but he's the most tenured head coach in the NFL. Does that mean he needs to go? Like, I don't think being a long-term head coach means you have to leave.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is it seems like the Ravens either had a really good record, but really high number 1 or number 2 seed record, and then fell flat in the playoffs, or they have this 500 record playing uneven football with Lamar Jackson, due to Lamar Jackson being injured.
Is Lamar Jackson's injuries John Harbaugh's fault?
No, it's not.
And
I would say with the Mike Tomlin argument is my argument with Mike Tomlin is, at what point is 500 no longer good enough?
That's a great point. And by the way,
500 or 500 either
500
barely
plus.
missing the playoffs, or 500 or better and having a first round exit.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but man, do you think John Harbaugh I think he's a head coach next year.
Oh yeah, he'll take one of those.
One of the openings
he'll
will
get
be
one of those
his.
jobs.
And the same for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, if he were to be let go, I think another team would scoop him up.
By the way, if you look at the teams, and I would argue with the Mike Tomlin one, look at the teams that Mike Tomlin has had. He's never had an over-the-top team, and yet he always puts 500 on the board. It's hard to argue with that.
But yeah, I mean, a guy like that, to where they got rid of the coach, because he just couldn't get him over the hump. Tony Dungy's Buccaneers, great teams, but they just couldn't win in the playoffs.
You mean Colts?
No, the Buccaneers. He coached the Buccaneers for a long time, and
then he did.
They traded for John Gruden. John Gruden got him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
got him over the hump and got him the Super Bowl.
And they did. I mean, technically, the Colts he barely got the win there.
Yep.
Mike McDaniels with the Dolphins. You saddle him with a quarterback that you can't let take a hit. Like, what head coach on this list? Anybody on this list want to go coach in Miami where you have a quarterback that one hit puts your team behind farther than anybody else in the league?
Yeah.
Do you want that job?
You know, that kind of leads into my question. I mean, which one of these jobs is maybe the least desirable?
To me,
out of all this?
And I can look at the Falcons, and I'll say that the Falcons ownership seems to want to do good. They just got to figure out how to get good people in there. And I think that's the problem with the Falcons, their GM and their team president and all that stuff. Everybody got fired, and ownership wants to bring in the win. They just have guys that aren't putting stuff together. And I think that's why they cleaned the entire house this year. So I think that's one's okay. But to me, it's the Dolphins. And 100%, it falls under Tua Tagovailoa.
All right. So if the Dolphins front office, whether it's a condition of you taking a candidate taking the Miami job, if the front office is saying that we will eat the money and cut Tua, is that a better situation?
100%.
Okay.
I'll take no quarterback, and I'll call Old Man Rivers. I'll call, heck, I'd even call Superman.
Tim Tebow?
No, Cam Newton.
Oh yeah, Cam Newton.
Superman, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'd call. I would. I wouldn't call Tim Tebow.
You going Kaepernick?
I would call Colin Kaepernick. I would start Colin Kaepernick before I'd start Tua Tagovailoa. And that's not even a lie. Now, part of it is that I want to prove that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have what it takes and he's going to get creamed. But the other part is...
Cam Newton's starting to talk. Cam Newton's really starting to take advantage of his media platform and presence to keep saying that I'm better than these guys. I'm still one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league, and I'm not even on a roster right now.
I think that there is some argument to be made there, actually. But, no, I think... So, the least desirable to me, honestly... So, I said the Dolphins, but I'm going to also... My number one, and it will always be, if the ownership's willing to hire guys that are terrible human beings and need to need to be in prison more than they need to be on a football field, it's the Browns.
Yeah, and the Browns could be. I think the Browns ownership is fully admitted to that one. That yep, we tried, we swung for the fences, and we missed on this one. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, so
we gambled. So they could be letting go and paying Deshaun Watson to be on the unemployment line and collecting that guaranteed contract.
Yep. From him. And so, but then you're still saddled with his salary. Say that 3 times fast.
Mm-hmm.
So the Browns is bad. But I think that my number one is the Browns. My number 2 is the Dolphins. I think those are the worst 2. Raiders would be number 3 for me.
Okay, I think I'll agree with you on the Dolphins. Because of the Tua situation, because whether he's on your roster and you're making it work with him until that contract's a little bit more financially part where the terms of the contract make it a little bit more feasible to cut him. If you're paying him not to play on your team, you're still that's still eating up a big chunk of your salary cap.
Yep.
And there's a lot of veterans on that team that are on the wrong side of their contracts. For me, I think the best job that I'd want out of this, I think I'd take the Giants. The quarterback's in place, the running back's in place. You got a good young receiver in Malik Neighbors. You got some good cornerstone pieces there on defense.
Nope.
So
I don't mind that.
That's what I go with.
I don't mind that, but again, we're saying if we're offered the job, that means we're an established head coach. We're known in all the circles. Blah blah blah. That means people know who we are. If I'm that type of a guy, the Ravens to me is the number one.
Okay.
The reason is you won't get a huge leash, but as long as you hit 500 for the first couple years and you have a couple good years, you're probably going to be able to be there quite a long time. They don't just turn people over to turn people over. So I'm going to argue the Ravens is number one. Number two, probably the Falcons. Number three, well, and again, I guess the question is, as the head coach, do I get hired first or do I get hired third in that front office head coach decision making?
Let's go third. Let's go third.
Third?
Where they take care of where they get the front office in place, and it's the new front office is the one that's interviewing you and making the decision.
That's a tough one. That might put that one lower. That puts that one lower. If it's a, now, here's where I would actually go with it. If I am the one to, like, let's say they haven't fully made the decision, the ideal situation for the Falcons job, this is what I would want. Not that I'm hired first or third or even second. That the interview process includes, but is not limited to, bringing all of your finalists together and seeing who works the best and making the decision, and all three of you get hired at the same time.
Okay.
And these are our boys. They are working together, not these guys picked this guy. So that's how I would want it there. But that would make that a pretty desirable spot. And I still think that's overall, the ownership wants to win, so they're willing to spend some money. But yeah, I think...
And you're in a winnable division.
And a very winnable division, which you can also argue that the Giants are in too.
Yeah, because I think the Eagles are getting up there in age, and people have figured out the tush push.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily their division to lose every single year.
Yeah.
So with the regular season over, Mike, I think we're going to skip over our power rankings, Mike.
Yeah.
So do we want to go into the NASCAR corner, or do we want to talk some Cubs baseball?
Cubs baseball will be here next week. A lot of what's going on with there's some huge news and some feel-good news / kind of heartstrings, and we only got 6 minutes. So
let's take the feel-good news with your with your guy Cletus McFarland, and we'll save the other two quick bullet points about NASCAR for next week.
Because we still have to give a spoiler alert. So I'm going to give the spoiler alert. We're going to talk about Matt Singer after we get done giving the NASCAR pit stop and do all that stuff. So if you don't want to hear about it, once we get done with NASCAR, we're going straight into the Masked Singer. We don't have a lot of time. So that if you want to follow us, check us out on Facebook.com/BallsandSticks, Facebook.com/FansOfBallsandSticks, where our poll questions get posted. If you want to watch us, YouTube. If you want to listen to us, podcasts, hopefully I'm going to get those work done soon. Anyway, with that, Rich, let's go into the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by III Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, that is III Sports Cards Incorporated. Cletus McFarland announced this week that he is driving in the ARCA race yet again this year for the Daytona races. He also announced that he's doing 5 races overall, and in that, his car, the back trunk, you know how they have statements on there sometimes, or normally it's actually sponsorship. Cletus McFarland is sponsoring it himself, and he's putting his catchphrase on the back.
Okay.
And everybody thought they knew what it was, and it used to be, "Do it for Dale." But after this year of becoming nearly best friends with Greg Biffle, it now says, "Be like Biff." If you go to his channel, he talks about how much him and Biff really became real good friends, and a lot of the good stuff that Greg Biffle did, and did that. He also made a statement saying, "Hey, Greg Biffle's the reason I'm here, guys, and because of that, our goal was that we're going to hit the Daytona 500, and I'm not stopping it until I race in the Daytona 500." So. Yeah, kind of heartstrings pulling, kind of exciting, and look for him to race in the ARCA race yet again, and we'll see how he does there. And, you know, there are ways for him to move up and get other opportunities, and I think if he decides to put his heart into it, he might get some opportunities in trucks and even the O'Reilly Auto Parts races this year even, and I think that could very easily be a thing that happens. So I'm excited for it, and that "Be Like Biff" is going to be a great thing. I hope on the 16th lap of the race they make sure to headline that, as that was Greg Biffle's number. So okay, with that, I think it's time to do the spoilers.
Yeah, Masked Singer, as it was a new group. As it was, it was a series premiere. The common question we have when we talk about a premiere week is, who was your favorite costume?
I don't know.
Okay.
Costume. I really did. I do like the googly eyes. I think that was a great costume. I think that's a great costume. I didn't. There was only one other for me that stood out, but I don't know. What's your favorite?
I liked the Pug Casso. That was a kind of a neat one.
So that was my only other one that stood out. Was that?
I kind of liked the robot, the Mr. Fix-It robot.
Yeah,
that was kind of neat. And the cat witch. The cat witch was
okay. We got to talk about this because the cat witch, we already know who it is. Like, what's with that?
I don't know. Is it her?
I don't know. I don't know who the girl is, but
I don't know. She's a co-star with Rita.
Yeah.
I don't recall. Did she say that she was appearing in the 9th episode or some point during the series?
I don't know, but either way, it's really weird to me. I don't know if I'm okay with it. It feels.
It seems like there was a lot of people in one episode.
Yeah.
To potentially turn around and make it battles all night.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're on season 14 of a competition show, you kind of gotta switch it up every once in a while. You gotta switch up the format to keep it fresh and keep people interested.
Yep. No, I totally agree.
Best performance of the night on the season premiere.
I literally just watched it a couple hours ago.
I know, me too. There was just that many people that many good
Yeah.
to decent performances on it.
The Egyptian, what's it called?
Snatch,
Yeah. The
snatch, something.
the um satchel, whatever. The
Yeah, I thought the Picasso was good,
Picasso was
and
really good. Yeah.
and you know, and I thought that the Queen Corgi did well as did well too, especially considering the song that she chose.
Um,
Um, but Mike, there was one person revealed, although three people went home.
two were revealed. The Scarab.
The Scarab. Okay.
Yeah, Scarab.
So, so Mike, our spoiler going home was the Googly Eyes,
Yep.
who I thought probably had the weakest performance.
Yeah.
Uh,
I liked the costume. I thought it was great.
yeah.
And I had some thoughts on it. But yeah, that one was pretty evident. Once, and I'll admit, once Ken made his guess, 100%, I was like, that's 100% who this is. The first time.
Mm.
Did you?
I knew the Googly Eyes was going home because of the internet.
Right. Did you know who it
Of the
was?
internet, but I did not know who it was.
When
I did
Ken
not.
made his guess, I knew. I said that is 100% who that is. So.
Very good. And also going home, but not revealed, was the French
Croissants.
croissants.
Which we both. I'm going to put it out there. I think it's the Chrisleys.
Yeah, that's who Amy thinks it is too.
Yeah.
It's the Christies.
Now, I did think. I did have. You brought up Pug Casso.
Mm-hmm.
I had one spoiler guess. I had one guess. One guess.
Okay, who is it?
Today we're going to paint a happy little career change. I was supposed to take over the family business, but sometimes you've got to color outside the lines. What was he painting?
A home plate.
Okay. The way he talked, not the way he sang. Patrick Mahomes.
Hmm.
Family business was
His dad was a pitcher for the Twins.
yep. But he paints outside the lines, i.e., he does a lot. He plays football and gets outside the. He's known for scrambling and getting outside the tackle box. It's a stretch,
Yeah,
but that's
we'll see.
That's
We'll
kind of
see.
my almost guess. Again, we like to when we have things that almost make sense to us, we kind of like to bring those here.
All right.
So that was my pseudo guess.
All right. So we both love The Masked Singer. We watch it every week.
Yep.
Probably the only weekly network television show we watch.
Yep.
We watch faithfully every week. Not live, but we watch it
Yeah.
because we both don't like commercials.
Yep.
So
By the way,
stay tuned.
did you
Stay
see?
tuned for a weekly update each week on The Masked Singer.
Did you see that? Apparently, we now know who all of the. There's 18, and that's all they're having this year.
Hmm.
And we met the 5 that weren't in this week.
That's right, because they already did reveal who those 5 are.
Yeah. So. Yep. I think it's I think it's been good. I
All
think
right, Mike. Any shout outs this week?
I feel like I should, but I don't know.
All right.
So.
It was my grandpa's birthday
Oh,
this past week. Grandpa Frank.
yeah. Happy birthday, Frank. Yeah. Okay, with that, Rich, we gave all the things, so
We did.
let's go ahead and roll that outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.